we are only a few months away from the most consequential election of our lifetimes. This is it. This is not a test. We literally have an administration who wants to be authoritarian, and we have to take back the House.
All right, let's get right into it. My guest today is somebody who looked at a broken political system, one that had never made space for moms and decided to fix it for herself. Liuba Grechen Shirley is the founder and CEO of Vote Mama, a powerhouse trio of organizations dedicated to electing moms, transforming how we campaign, and advancing family-friendly policy across the country. In 2018, Liuba ran for Congress in New York's 2nd District as a first-time candidate with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old at home. She achieved the highest vote share any Democrat had ever earned against a 25-year incumbent, raised over $2 million without a single corporate PAC dollar, and made history as the first woman to ever receive federal approval to use campaign funds for children. Before politics, she worked in international development with a focus on women's economic empowerment. She holds an MBA from NYU Stern and a in politics and Russian, also from NYU. She's been named one of Long Island's 100 most powerful people and has appeared on CNN, The Today Show, and in Time magazine. She lives on Long Island with her husband and her 3 kids. So without further ado, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm super impressed. We're all talking about PACs and funding and running for office and all that. So I'm really excited to get into this conversation with you because you've been doing the work and you're in the weeds. So let's talk about, how what lit that fire in 2018 for you to want to get into this hot mess of a politics world in the first place.
Well, I had a 1-year-old, and I had I moved back out to Long Island. I had a baby and I had no paid family leave, and I couldn't figure out how to get off any of the childcare wait lists full time. I could get off part-time childcare wait lists, but I couldn't work and do that. And I moved back out to Long Island, which is where I grew up, because my mom is here and she was my childcare. And I moved back at the height of the first Trump election. And it was shocking, honestly. I mean, there were Trump that bitch bumper stickers everywhere, and there was a parade in the town next to me that had a dummy of Hillary Clinton in a cage in the back of a pickup truck. And I was an hour outside of Manhattan. And so it was eye-opening. And I started organizing Democrats. I had no intention of running for office. I had 2 tiny babies. I was nursing, a toddler and a newborn. And I reached out to my local Democratic Party. I wanted to get involved. There was no local Democratic Party. It's corrupt and disorganized. And I ended up organizing an indivisible group. And one thing led to another, and I ran for Congress. It was literally my reaction to Trump getting elected. I needed something to channel my anger into, and I ran that year.
I
Least
mean,
cleansing
that's
I've ever done.
Well, so they say ignorance is bliss, right? And it's like restaurant owners are like, if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't open this restaurant. But like, you kind of need that sometimes. It's like that, naivete, right? Maybe not ignorance, but like you don't know all the things ahead of you, so you have a little more fire. But that's how we all started, right? Or the good ones, right? The ones that just slide in because of nepotism or backroom deals, that's a different story. But for the rest of us, it's this like
Yeah.
mystified world that we don't get to belong in. It's like
Hmm.
this, and then you look at the people in that world and you're like, but those guys are idiots. So if they can do it, then why can't I?
That's honestly, and it's so funny that you said this, because I'm always telling people that we have to demystify politics. And there's still, like, when I ran, I remember thinking, women always second guess themselves. Am I qualified enough to run? And I remember thinking, I disagree with these guys' policies, but surely they must know what they're doing. They've been in office for almost 30 years and they must understand the policy. The first time I debated Peter King, and he had been in office since I was 12, it was very clear to me that he had no idea what he was talking about, didn't understand these policies, and genuinely didn't care. And so I always tell this to women that we support. You're already more qualified than most people in office if you can read, if you can talk to members of your own community, and if you care. Literally, if you have a desire to fix things and to make things better for your community, then you can run for office. You are qualified.
And I think that even inside of politics, they make it very confusing. So at one point, I was asked to be on a dump Trump slate, probably, I guess, back in 2018 too. and I ran for like the Democratic National Committee woman for the Democratic. It was way too many of the same words in a very long title. And I quickly realized that I didn't feel qualified to do it because I didn't know enough. So then I kind of reshaped my efforts into helping people that had been there longer and knew more. And I was like, I'm just not ready, but I wasn't
Mm.
angry enough. You know what I mean? If it was now, I would go all in, but I kind of had my head someplace else. But it's not. It's just government meetings. It's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of getting people on the same team. But it's not this like, you don't need a master's degree from Yale to be a politician. And I mean, look at Boebert, right? If you ever want, if you ever wanted to know.
She is not a good politician, though.
No, no.
So no, I mean, it is. It is overwhelming sometimes and it is scary to run for office, but honestly, it's the best thing that you can do. And it's so much fun. And you get to talk to people in your community and you get to go out and knock on doors and talk to people about what issues matter most to them. And yeah, you have to raise a lot of money and that part sucks for the most part. But when you do call time, like there are so many people that I'm very good friends with, people who sit on my board right now, and we try to think back and remember how we met. We met because I cold called them during my campaign. And we ended up becoming friends. So yeah, it can get overwhelming and scary, but if you are it's funny you said you weren't angry enough. I was so angry. I ran because I couldn't believe that we had, elected a man who proudly boasted of sexually assaulting women. And here I was raising two tiny babies and I was disgusted with what was happening. And then my representative voted to take healthcare away from 74,000 people in my district alone, voted to defund Planned Parenthood 17 times, was against abortion, even in cases of rape or incest. I was angry. Then he came out and supported the Muslim ban, and I had a protest with hundreds of people show up in front of his office. And I still remember I asked for a meeting. And when I got there, they told me to come in at 3 o'clock. They had locked the doors and sent his staff home. And they had police there. And that was my foray into this. And I eventually got my meeting because I had 300 people protest. But he told the press later that he met with the leader of a resistance group, not a mom in his community, but a leader of a resistance group. And that was really what just set me off. Had he probably met with me, and I asked him to hold a town hall, and he told me that holding a town hall would only diminish democracy. And that's how I got into all of this.
Well, and speaking of which, right, like leader of I mean, that's the greatest title you've ever been given. Honestly, I would like get a plaque and put that up somewhere and be like, yeah. But I
I
think
should.
it is important. You are a mom in the community, and for them to be so dismissive, and especially when, like, and I don't know all the numbers, but I do know that when women make more money, the world is a better place, right? So like, I've been in the opposite kind of thing of like empowering more women to make more money and to not be shy about it, but not in a like douchey 1% way, but like don't devalue yourself. And then when you make more, because everything is better, our communities are better, our homes are better, our employees are better, everything around us improves when women have more stability, right? Whether it's financial, whatever it might be, like we are the ones that move the needle all the time, right? And so
Mhm.
what happens when when women get involved in politics? Like what does that look like on the other side of that?
It looks like they start actually focusing on what's happening to people in their community. Women don't run for the title. Women don't run for the power. They run because they want to get something done. And we've now supported almost 700 Democratic moms running from school board to Senate. And they all have one particular thing that just pissed them off enough that they decided to run. And usually it has something to do with their children. And they had reached out to their local representative or their member of Congress and either got completely, ignored or
Right.
they weren't able to help. And they said, you know what, I can do this better. And they decided to run. When women run for office, they statistically introduce more legislation that has to do with education, with reproductive rights, with healthcare, with childcare, with paid family leave. This is what women do. You don't actually have to lobby a Democratic woman in particular to pass these good policies because what most people don't understand is that legislators legislate on their lived experience. And if you don't have this lived experience, it's not what you're thinking about. It's not what is a priority for you. And you're not going to go and legislate on these issues. So when women get into office, they're actually passing policy that helps people in this country.
And moms are,
And
oh, sorry.
sorry, no, every time I talked about childcare or paid leave when I ran, every single time someone would be like, you really should stop talking about the women's issues and you should focus on the bread and butter issues. And it would infuriate me because these people didn't get it. And there were always men who said that because if we had similar labor force participation rates to countries like Canada and Germany that have paid family leave, that have quality subsidized childcare, we'd add 5.5 million women to the workforce and more than $500 billion a year to the economy. It is the most basic bread and butter issue that our country faces. And women get that because it is their lived experience.
100%. And there's a lot of barriers, structural barriers to women getting into office. So is that part of what Vote Mama does is kind of help more women cross over those barriers and make it easier to get in? Because, everybody needs a mentor or a guide or a cheat
Yeah.
sheet, something, right? Because otherwise,
Mentor, guide, cheat sheet, all of that, but also we're changing the political system because the political system was designed by wealthy white landowning men at a time when we didn't have the right to vote, and it has not been modernized. We are still working with this backwards, concept of citizen legislatures. So if you look at our state legislatures, 20,000 pieces of legislation got passed in this last cycle, 27,000 bills. Those are the bills that affect our lives every single day. And yet, there are only 4 states that pay their state legislators a livable wage. That's it. So you end up in some states you're getting paid $0. In some, well, one state you're getting paid $0. One state you get paid $100 per session. One it's $16,000 a year. You have to be independently wealthy or retired to serve in your state legislature. So we actually have to break the structural barriers in a much more systematic way. That's the first thing that we have to do. So when I ran for Congress, I got the Federal Election Commission to approve the use of campaign funds for childcare. Vote Mama has now gotten that done for state and local candidates in 40 states and DC. We are now working on campaign funds for security. Campaign funds for security is approved in 25 states, soon to be the 26th. Those are things that you might not think about because when you run, especially for Congress, it's 2 years of your life and you can't have a salary. You cannot have an outside job if you want to actually run a good race and win. And so it's the longest job interview you'll ever have. And this is why there are more millionaires in Congress than moms, because it's really hard to do if you're not independently wealthy. Being able to use your campaign funds for childcare, it sounds like this small, wonky change, but it can completely transform the political landscape. The majority of the funds that are used by women, and the majority of those funds are used by women of color. So breaking the structural barriers, having things like on-site childcare, pumping rooms, changing tables, being able to vote via proxy, paying state legislators a livable wage, changing the way that it looks to serve as a Congress member and as a state legislator so that we have more everyday people, more moms, more people who really kind of are closest to the pain. Those are the people who get it the most, and those are the people who are going to pass important policy.
they're living it, they're living it every day, right? So it's like you said, it's touching close to home because it's something that they're dealing with all the time. And let's be honest, men, I saw this clip the other day and it was like, oh, I would die for my kids, and she was like, yeah, but what's your pediatrician's name? Like before you go throwing yourself on a grenade,
Yeah.
like who's your doctor, right? Who's your kid's doctor? You don't even know. So like let's reel that in. And it's like women are carrying so much already, right? We're doing so much of that labor already, that then now trying to get into politics, especially when you're constantly being told that you're not, good enough, or you're not the right look, or you don't have enough money, or you don't fit the bill. And a lot of people, even in politics, it's interesting. I talk to a lot of people that run like political things, whether it's getting in the office, like Eva Posner from Evinco Strategies, and they do like political campaigning. And she's very honest about what it is. And like, yeah, this is who it normally looks like, but it's very possible for you. But there's other people that are still holding on to this idea that it's other people and you shouldn't even bother, and they're still supposed to be on the same team. So it's like kind of bringing down the barriers on that really makes a difference. It's like as long as you know what the playbook is, then you can get in the game. It's like, but if you don't know the playbook, it makes it really hard, and it,
Yeah.
it it can be a lonely place. So talk to me a little bit about mom's night out. I would love to hear about that.
It's so funny. We actually had an impromptu mom's night out last night. We had an event at Gloria Steinem's house last night, and we had Lauren Babb Tomlinson, who's running in California's 6th district. She's one of our mamas, so she joined us. And after the event, a couple of us were like, you know what, we're going to go out to dinner. And we went out to dinner and we talked about Lauren's race, and we just, we bullshitted. And it was so much fun, and we just caught up, and it was really nice. And it's funny, we were all sitting there like, oh, we're having a mom's night out, and we didn't even realize it. So a mom's night out is supposed to be, and you don't even have to be a mom, you can be anybody and do this. It's supposed to be an easy way to fundraise politically. Normally, people find it very overwhelming to host a political fundraiser. You have to have a person who's running for office join, you have to get all your friends together, you have to raise all this money. There's a lot of pressure. This is supposed to say, you know what, go out to dinner with your girlfriends. Whatever you spent on dinner, contribute to Vote Mama into our Mama Fund, and every dollar that's raised through our Mama Fund is going directly to our candidates. We have 117 women right now that we're supporting running across the country. So every dollar that goes into this Mama Fund goes to their campaigns. We've had people do karaoke nights, somebody did a craft night, somebody did a spa night. Like you do whatever you would do with your friends, and then you make a donation into the Mama Fund. And it's simple and it's easy. You can talk to our staff and get the support. You don't have to. We've got somebody in LA doing a bar crawl, and she's not a mom, but she's like, we're going to go on a bar crawl and we're going to raise money for moms running for office. And I love that. It's a low-key way to help women build their political power.
It's super smart because it's like if you can intertwine things into what people are already doing, it just makes it easier and it makes people realize, oh, wait, I can make a difference. Even my couple dollars, it really does make a huge difference. So
Yeah.
what would be your message to moms or, I love that you said not a mom because I'm not a mom, but I like used to run bike rides and manage a lot of artists. And so every year on Mother's Day, I would get like 100 happy Mother's Days from like all the derelicts in Washington, D.C., who I was like low key mothering. But we, even non-moms still have that maternal instinct and want to do something, right? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, even though, like, I think about school shootings way too much for somebody who doesn't have kids. Like, honestly, I
Yeah.
probably should talk to a therapist about it, but like, it is heavy on my heart. I think about those kids all the time. And so it's like, I don't even have to have kids to be like, have skin in the game in the future and to care and want to do something and express empathy, just do something, right? So for all the women and especially moms who are feeling that overwhelm right now, because I know we're all like, you know, it's this idea of like someone's gonna come save us, but then as women, we're all like, nobody's coming to save us. We know this.
That's
Nobody's
our
saved us
job.
our whole lives. You know what I mean? This is not what we're not. We shouldn't be surprised with it. It has to be us. So what are some concrete ways for women to get involved right now today? Because I know that's part of the reason why I started the podcast. I'm like, I can't call Eleanor Holmes Norton again. They're gonna have me arrested. I got one representative in Congress and she's sick of hearing from me. I need something else to do concrete that I can do from Costa Rica. So that's why we're sitting here right now. So what are some things
Yes.
that people can do?
You can sign up to host a mom's night out. The week before Mother's Day, we're doing a mom's night out week. We're trying to get at least 25 mom's night outs on the books because we have an odd number, but a 17,500 match. So for every mom's night out that's happening, the first $1,000 that's raised will be matched up to this 17,500 because we had people who contributed and said we're going to use it as a match for mom's night out. So it's the
It's
perfect week to
amazing.
do it.
Yeah.
Amanda Seyfried she's on our motherboard and she's serving as our Mom's Night Out ambassador. And we've got, so many people who've signed up already across the country. So sign up, go to our website, go to Vote Mama Lobby on Instagram, and you can comment ready on one of the Mom's Night Out posts. We'll send you the toolkit. But you can sign up on our website and this is how you make a difference because frankly, I know that everybody is so stressed. We are literally living with a pedophile in the White House and we're watching our democracy just be undermined completely. And the reality is we only need 3 seats to take back the House. That's it. We have 12 moms who are running in red to blue races, 12 of them who can flip their seats. And all they need is money right now. They need the money that they have to raise to run these races. Unfortunately, money is what works in politics. And until we get money out of politics, which God, I hope we do at some point,
Right.
these women need to raise the money to be taken seriously, to hire the staff, to actually run a race. And if they can do that, they can win. We can take back the House. Maybe we can take back the Senate. It would be freaking amazing if we could, because we could actually start to hold some of these people accountable. So yeah, you can be despondent or you can host a mom's night out and get involved and support some of these incredible women who are running for office.
I love that. I think that's super important. And so if what would you say to a mom who's like, this is stirring something inside of me, I've been kind of feeling some kind of way. I've been thinking about it. I don't know where to start. And there's one thing I know about like doing anything revolutionary or out of the box is that your friends and family are usually the least supportive unless you're really lucky. So they'll
Yeah.
be like if you're thinking about running for office and you mention it, I mean, even me, I'm pretty loud about stuff, and my friends will be like, I can't be as mad at you. And I'm like, I don't need you to be like me, and so you should not need me to be like you. And as long as we can start there, we're fine. But I don't really
Mhm.
care what people think, so I just do what I do anyway. But a lot of women might share that with their immediate network and say, I'm thinking about it, and they'll get discouraged from it, right? For lots of different reasons. Some good, some wholesome, some nefarious, right? Husband might not want mom out of the house, some who knows, right? What would you say to a woman who's like, this is stirring something inside of me. I am feeling this. Where can they start if they want to get involved and run for office?
I would say run. I would say don't let anybody tell you that you're not ready for it. And I would say do it. The first thing you got to do is honestly, you start talking to people in your community. You have to build your network. You have to talk to people about what matters most to them. That's the first thing. I mean, I really genuinely, I was a county committee member when I lived in the city in Manhattan. But other than that, like I didn't have a political network. I worked in international development before, so I didn't know what I was doing. And I wasn't planning on running. But I started an indivisible group and I started organizing actions and I started every day I would post and I would say, you know what, this is what this fool voted for. And now you guys are all going to call his office and tell him this is why we didn't want him to vote that way. And this vote's coming up. We're going to call him and tell him this is why. So I started to organize people and I started to really start to hold our elected officials accountable and to call them regularly and to go to their office and have petitions signed and start doing protests. Like get involved, find a local indivisible group. If your Democratic Party is active, go and join the party. If they're not and they're corrupt, go and join some local community groups and start to get to know the people in your community and decide what issues are you most passionate about? You know, if they're federal issues, run for Congress. Don't tell anybody that you have to start with school board. If they are local issues, run for a local office. You need to figure out what's the most important to you. And there are a lot of organizations that can help you with that. If you are a mom and you're thinking of running, reach out to us at Vote Mama. We're happy to talk to you. If you are running, you can apply for our endorsement right now. There are just don't overthink it. My biggest advice is don't overthink it. Just start. You got to start someplace. And every time somebody tells you you can't raise the money, I mean, yeah, I raised over $2 million. I had no idea how I was going to do that. I mean, I
Right,
remember organizations saying you have to raise 100,000 before we'll even talk to you. And I
right,
was getting like $25 contributions in the beginning.
right.
I didn't think I was going to be able to, but eventually you just keep doing it. And you know, you put one foot in front of the other and you raise the money and you get out and talk to people and it's fun. There were so many people who volunteered on my campaign that went and ran for office themselves afterwards. People who said, you know, I never thought I would do it, but you did it and you did it while you were nursing and dragging around two babies. So I could do it. But like that's the thing. You get inspired the more you see other people doing it. So don't overthink it and just take action.
I love that. You know, I talk a lot about like imposter syndrome and how it's not real and it's just like part of the patriarchy and it's like not a real
Ah,
syndrome and we need to stop like self-diagnosing and it's like and part of it is because of this. It's like, oh, you're not good enough. Who would you? No, no, just embrace your inner mediocre white man and do it anyway. Just do it anyway because you know, we know that we're better, we're smarter, we're all that. This is not about hating men. It's just like we make people for crying out loud. We make whole
we
people
do.
inside of us while holding down jobs and raising other children. And we're so capable. And a lot of times women are really, I mean, society is built to keep us second guessing ourselves, doubting ourselves, not feeling worthy of those things. And I think if there was ever a time to like push that aside, it's now.
It is. It's funny. Somebody asked me this recently. I was on a panel and they said, how do you get over imposter syndrome? And I said, you have to stop asking that question because you're making it a real thing.
It's
And
not
you have
real.
never asked a man that question ever.
Right.
No
Right.
man has ever gotten, oh my God, there was some funny interview that I saw where one reporter was asking men the questions that they would ask a woman, and the men were reacting to it. And I was laughing so hard, but it's true. You don't ask the same questions to men and to women. And when I first started Vote Mama, someone said, but how many moms do you need to get elected to feel successful? And I said, it's not the number of moms, it's the normalization of what it looks like to run and serve as a mom, so that the first question you're asked is not, but who will watch your kids while you campaign? But why are you running and how can I help? Because every single mom that we have endorsed has been asked that question, myself included. Who will watch your kids while you campaign? You look at our members of Congress and our state legislatures, only 7.2% of our Congress members are moms of minor children. Only 7.9% of our state legislators are moms of minor children. This is why our policies fail women. And there is no way around it because Jessica Clark, a professor, once said, she said, other countries have social safety nets and the US has women. And
Mm.
truest words I've ever heard, we are the social safety net. Everything falls to women. And, you know, we're the only industrialized country in the world without paid family leave or universal health care or universal childcare. These things exist elsewhere because they're smart economic decisions and we can't pass them here. And that it's a direct result of who is in office right now.
And it really boils down to it's not even like, oh, you should give women. It's like, no, like you need to because we produce better results. Like it's not even it's not like, oh, do it for your heartstrings because that's the right thing to do. It's like every company should want to hire women. Every area should want to elect women. Like we're just better. We just are. You know what I mean? We are.
I'm not even honestly, I will not even say women are better than men. Like it's not for me, it's the fact that we just don't have enough women. Men are overrepresented and women are underrepresented. We need both. We need both perspectives. We just need to have it be
More balanced.
not even more balanced, just a place that women can actually run for office, a place that is not so set up for men. I mean, until recently, there wasn't even a women's bathroom
Right.
off, off the floor. They would have to run in the middle, in between votes to use the bathroom. The first person who put a pumping room in was, Nancy Pelosi, because she was a mom of 5 kids. Like, it wasn't designed for women. It was designed literally before we had the right to vote. And I was sitting in Gloria Steinem's
Mm.
apartment last night, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this is an icon who has been fighting for these issues for decades. And we're sitting here and our voting rights are under attack right now. Our bodily autonomy is under attack right now. And this is because, one, we don't have enough women in office, and two, Democrats don't organize the way that Republicans do. They're not thinking long-term strategic planning. And, Republicans have been plotting for decades how to overturn Roe.
Hmm.
Democrats need to be playing that same kind of 3D chess and really investing in the infrastructure and the organizing and the groups that are, $96 million was given to Charlie Kirk by 4 people. No one on the left is doing that. If we had that situation, we would be in a different position and we wouldn't be fighting for these basic human rights at this point.
Well, and I want to touch back on money because I feel like there's a lot of stigma around money, right? Like you go on social media and it's like, hey, help us, give us $5. And I think like everyone is just like, no, do your job. Do your job. Stop asking me for money, right? Like
Yeah,
we're all kind of feeling that way. But the reality is that these people running, they need money. Like that's the reality of it. It costs money to build a website. It costs money to hire people to do your marketing. It costs money to have a campaign manager. It costs money to travel to places. It costs money to pay for it costs money to run. And so it would be really great to for anybody who's listening to try to destigmatize people asking for money, especially women who are running. Like, just do it, man. You were gonna go spend money at Target or whatever today. Like, pretend it's a latte, a crappy latte from Starbucks. Like, just we have to let go of this stigma and start investing into these campaigns.
we do. We absolutely need to get money out of politics. And because of Citizens United, we have endless dark money. And other countries don't run elections like this. But unfortunately, until we elect enough good people, we're not going to fix that problem. So as of right now,
Right.
we do need to invest. And the thing is, when a man runs for office, his friends get it. They're like, I'm gonna max out to your campaign. When women run for office, and this is, statistically, we have a harder time asking for the max out contributions. And there was a woman who was running, Jessica Morse, when we ran at the same time, and she said to me, "You're not asking for money for yourself. You have to get that mindset. You just ignore this mindset." And she's like, you're asking for money. It's an investment in your community so that your friends and your neighbors have a representative who cares and who will represent them. And she said, as soon as you start to think about it like that, you will not have trouble asking for the max out contributions. And she was right. It was just a mindset shift,
Mindset.
and
Yeah.
it helped me raise money. And it's the same thing I say to our candidates right now. Our candidates, I mean, Joe Mendoza just raised $2.3 million in the first quarter for a congressional race in Arizona. That's mind-boggling. But the fact that she's doing that, she's a single mom. She's a veteran. She's a drill sergeant. Like that's who I want to see in office, and thank God she's raising that money.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do that. Um, I don't know. It's you got to raise the money to get good people in office right now.
It is what it is. And so like, and I think it's just like as a citizen, right? Like we're just so disillusioned and we're like, every day we're like, why haven't you done anything? Like, why hasn't, you know what I mean? Why isn't anybody doing
Yeah.
anything? And then you see the note on social media and they're like asking for money. And so I think a lot of people are like, do something, stop asking me for money. But the reality is, it is what it is. And when we've got APAC and all these packs, like really like messing everything up and, just skewing the whole thing, it's like that. Well, that's what we're up against right now. And so these
Yeah.
things need money. And so, yeah, that would be my personal plea to anybody, and including myself, because I'm annoyed by it too. But that's the reality of it. It's not cheap to run a campaign. Like the new guy, but Baseka, or I don't know what his name is. The guy
Yes,
in
Sarah.
California that's thinking about, and like on threads, everybody's like losing their minds and like, we got to get him a social media team. And so like apparently they had a call out and a bunch of volunteers, like all these influencers are like, let us help you win this campaign because he's an older guy. Who knows who's running his campaign? They probably don't have money to run social media like aggressive stuff like Mom Donnie is doing. Like they didn't have those resources, but people are volunteering to do it now because they're like, we can't let you lose. We gotta make sure that you win. But like those things cost money, and I don't think people fully understand that even putting a website up, connecting a Stripe account to accept donations, an ActBlue, all of those things take time and money. And if we're waiting for people who have the extra dollars to do those things, then that's how we got here because we have billionaires and we have corporate interests involved, and that's how we got here. So I think that would be my biggest plea to people listening is like give them the $5, give them the $20, give them the 50, do a mom's night out. Like just do it and like let go of that, you know?
I saw a tweet the other day where it said, basically after this election, we have the possibility of having 4 billionaires serve as our governors. 4 billionaires as governors across the country. We literally just doubled the number of moms of minor children serving as governors. So we only have 4 moms of minor children serving as governor. We could have as many billionaires as moms of minor kids right now, which kind of says it all. But it's money is critical. So is just volunteering. So is knocking on doors. I mean, honestly, the only way you win an election is raising the funds, unfortunately, but then knocking on doors. If you're
Yeah.
not knocking on doors, like we don't endorse people who are not building a ground campaign. You absolutely need a ground game. You need to go out and knock on doors. You need to talk to people in the community. You need to be out there. Like raising the money allows you to be able to do that. So you don't have to you can actually go to something instead of doing the call time, but you have to do both. You have to do call time and knock on doors. I don't want to we support, it's there's just so much involved, but it's so much fun. And Vote Mama is there to really support these candidates. I remember when I ran, you'd get an endorsement, you'd get a PAC check, and you might not really talk to that PAC very often. Vote Mama is building the Mamas Network. The Old Boys Network is alive and well, and we're building the Mamas Network. Um, we were talking last night with Lauren, and there's a signal chat with all of our congressional candidates, and they're all talking to each other because, you hit the nail on the head earlier. You said running for office is lonely.
Right.
It's really lonely.
Right.
Not a lot of people know what that's like.
Right.
Not a lot of people know what it's like to give up your life to run for office, which is what it is. So to have that support and to have these incredible moms before you who've done it to actually have your back, it makes all the difference in the world. So Vote Mama is, we're changing the political system. We're supporting these incredible moms, and we're conducting research on who are parents, basically looking at our federal legislators and our state legislators and looking at who are the parents, and then looking at what happens once they get into office. What policies are they enacting? I love that I get to do this work, and I would do it for free. This would literally be like the fact that it's actually my job is so exciting because when I ran, it was hard, but it was so much fun. And Vote Mama is my way of supporting other moms. Elizabeth Warren called me 2 weeks after I won the primary, and my son had broken his leg recently, and I had been at the pediatrician all day and just for follow-up appointments. And she asked me how I was. And I burst into tears on this call, and she gave me the mom pep talk. And she said, when we moms run out of milk, we make breakfast with orange juice. And she told me about her Aunt B, and I told her about my mom. And she was so supportive. And I was like, that's what I want to do for other people who are running for office. And that's what Vote Mama is. We support these women, wraparound support to make sure that they can run and win and then serve when they're in office.
I love that. I mean, because that's the reality. That's who we are. This is what we're doing every day. And like we have to acknowledge it. We have to stop pretending like it doesn't exist, like this is what we're dealing with,
Yep.
well, I love that you have so much great support from all these incredible women, and now you've turned around and done that. I think, it's important to love what you do every day, and that really shines through. And I'm grateful that you exist in the world and that you did this because look at the impact that you're having now and how many people you're reaching. And, you've motivated me to do a mom's night out in Costa Rica.
Yay.
We've got a lot of women around that are like, we're all watching from a distance, of course, you know what I mean? But we're still like, a lot of the women here have kids and grandkids back in the States, right? So we're not like so disconnected from it. So I'll definitely
Yeah.
get more involved myself. I'm very, inspired. And I got connected to you because about a month ago I put on Threads and Facebook. I said during Women's History Month, I said nominate the most badass women that you know. And so and I should do this once a month, to be honest. It was like a timeline cleanse. I got connected
Yeah.
with so many more amazing women, and women were
Oh,
nominating themselves too, which I like
I love
absolutely
that.
loved. I was like, they were like, I hope this isn't bad form. I'm like, hell no, this, we need more of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's how I got connected. And I'm so grateful that I did because I didn't know about your organization. And I definitely want to be helpful and use my voice for something better than just, telling people to piss off on Facebook because that seems to be my specialty. But here we are. So
I
thank you for
love
your
that.
I mean, I was supposed to be a stand-up comedian, but then the world fell apart. So here we are. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. We all play our roles and it is what it is. So thank you for taking time to meet with me today because
Of
I know you're
course.
super busy. And we'll make sure to put all your links and everything else. But what's the last message you would like to leave with our audience?
The last message that I would like to leave is we are only a few months away from the most consequential election of our lifetimes. This is it. This is not a test. We literally have an administration who wants to be authoritarian, and we have to take back the House and the Senate, and we can do this. And you should work with Vote Mama to make sure that we actually save our democracy. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to, saving our democracy. So go and follow Vote Mama Lobby on Instagram, and I will send you the links so people can sign up to host a Mom's Night Out. But like, this is it. This is your one chance to save democracy. We're 250 years into this project, and I can't watch what's happening. So we got to fight back, and please join us in this fight.
Amen. And you couldn't be more right. I think if 3 years ago you said we have to save our democracy, you'd be like a doomsday prepper and people would roll their eyes at you. But man, it's never been more real. Like this is I was just
Yeah.
saying with a friend, I'm like, it sucks when the QAnon people and the doomsday preppers were kind of right. I'm like, what a topsy-turvy world we're living in, you know? So
Yeah.
it matters more than ever. Like we are saving our democracy. We're watching it slip away bit by bit, and it really does matter. And I think it matters for yourself if you're feeling hopeless, if you're sitting at home and you're just doom scrolling, and maybe you've gone no contact with family members or whatever. It's extra lonely right now. So Vote Mama seems like a great place. Go volunteer, go hang signs, go, put some of that energy into something else. It'll make you feel a lot better than just sitting in this fear and anger all the time. You have to do something with it.
Yeah.
And so Vote Mama seems like a fantastic place for some of that energy.
I agree. I feel the same way, honestly. Every time you turn the news on and you read something new that happens in the world, it's super overwhelming and stressful. And then I think, but you know what? I get to go to work with these incredible women and I get to do this. That's what's saving me right now. My team is amazing, the women that we work with, and I'm like, instead of being in doomsday mode,
Mhm.
gonna focus and do the work, and that's how things are gonna get better.
Same. Yeah, last night I saw that Rape Academy online and I was like, well, at least I get to have this convo with Vote Mama tomorrow morning. Like, I'm just gonna keep my eye on the prize because, like, if not, I just want to scream into the void.
Yeah.
And that's not helping anybody, that's for sure. So, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. We'll make sure we have all of your links and everything below. I'll make sure to put the links for the Mama's Night Out and everything else. And thank you all for tuning in today. I appreciate you. If this is motivating you and you want to help me with a Mom's Night Out here in Costa Rica for my Costa Rica friends or anywhere, let me know. I'll help. I'll get the links, whatever I can do. And let's start telling more people about Vote Mama. Let's spread the good word. Let's get more active and involved and really push this thing forward. I think it matters more than ever before. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, be excellent to each other.